Oh, hello YouTube, I'm Dapie45 and welcome to my channel. So I'm enacting my plan to steal Christmas now, and I think I have my first target right here. As you can see, they decorated the house with the one stocking and some Christmas lights. So I'm gonna go over, steal that stocking, and then I'll get right back. Alright, so I successfully got the stocking, and what the heck? How did they do that so fast? Well, anyways, I guess if I steal that stocking, then I have no more stockings left. Alright, I'm going now. Alright, I got their second stocking, and now there's no way that how did they do that so fast? This is much harder than I thought it was gonna be. Well, it's a good thing that I brought this bad boy with me, so after I watch this movie, I should know the best course of action. I just finished watching the movie, and now I know what I have to do to steal Christmas. But I have to do a movie review first. How the Grinch Stole Christmas follows the Grinch as he attempts to steal Christmas from the Who's of Whoville. But this time, it's in live action. This movie is pretty interesting. It follows the same basic story of the Grinch not liking the Who's and wanting to steal Christmas from them, but of course it is a 2-hour movie compared to the other one I did last week, which was about 20 minutes, so they do have to fill up a lot of space of things that's not in the original book or in the original movie. So there's a lot of extra jokes and different things, and you go more into the Grinch's story and the Who's story than you do in the book or the original 20-minute movie. And of course, you do learn more about the characters such as the Grinch and Cindy Lou who you kind of didn't really know too much about, just that the Grinch hated Christmas, but you didn't really know much about him or how he really acted too much. And then of course, Cindy Lou all you see her like in the book and in the original movie is just her being tired and seeing the Grinch as he broke into the house. But of course, in this movie, she is very much more involved with the Grinch, as well as just getting the whole Christmas celebration with the Grinch invited. All the props used in this movie are pretty well done. They look like they came out of the Dr. Seuss books, however, they're not as animated, so they're not as movable, because of course they do look pretty animated, but not as animated as a normal Dr. Seuss cartoon like the one we did last week, where there's a lot more movement, and since it is a cartoon, it more flows fluently. However, like with the movie, since it's in real life, there are of course things that do move like an animated way, but it's not as well done as it would be if it was a cartoon. But of course, when they made this movie back in 2000, they focused more on the props and not much of CGI or animation to make the things move. It was more just the props and engineering making sure they moved on their own, instead of relying on the editing afterwards to add like a graphic of these things moving. It was more relying on the props, and then if they needed to touch up something on editing, they would afterwards. And right now Universal Studios is closed, but if you do go to Universal Studios Hollywood and you take the backlot tour, you do see the set that they used for the How the Grinch Stole Christmas, and it does look pretty cool. But of course, back to the movie, it is pretty funny also, the movie. However, not all the jokes land. Of course, there are some jokes that are funny and I found myself laughing at. However, there were some that I just didn't land. I could tell that they were jokes, but I just didn't think they were as funny as the writers hoped they'd be. But even though all the jokes didn't land, I do like this movie better than the 1966 movie, because this is a full-length film and they do add a lot more to the characters of the Grinch and Cindy Lou Who, and it is still a pretty good time while watching it. I did find myself enjoying it, even though I didn't enjoy it as much, I guess, as a lot of the top movies I've done. But it is still enjoyable. It's a good one to put in the background or to watch around Christmas time. But of course, it's not the best Christmas movie ever, but it is a good one still. And I have to give props to this movie, because the other movie that I did last week, it was just more stripped out of the book. It was the exact same, just animated, which of course isn't bad. But this movie does add a lot to the basic story, and it is done really well. And actors like Jim Carrey, who plays the Grinch, does a really great job. He's really funny, and he does add that entertaining factor to this movie that it really needs. Of course, there are other characters that are funny, but Jim Carrey just steals the show in this movie, and he does it very well. So I give this movie my final rating of 8 out of 10. It is a pretty good Christmas movie, and if you hadn't seen it before, I suggest that you do watch it. And now that I finished this movie review, it's time for me to get back to stealing Christmas. Okay, so I'm going to attempt to steal a Christmas stocking again. Besides, it's not like they have any more than they've already taken. Alright, I'm going to give it one last shot and steal a Christmas stocking again. Alright, I got it, and now there's no way that they'll be able to... What the...